there was a there was a lot of confusion
Mm,
and anger, especially on like my social and up my Facebook group, from especially from Americans who couldn't quite understand what was going on. And American Horror Story is not Disney, and
mm,
Alien should not be on Disney Plus. And there was a lot of confusion,
mm.
and it took 6 months to a year for that to kind of come a little. And then when they started adding in like Deadpool and Daredevil, it started
Mhm.
becoming a little bit easier. And now it feels like you've kind of caught up with us.
If there's one person who knows about Disney Plus, it's Roger Palmer. Through the outlet he created, What's on Disney Plus, he has reached an audience of millions of people through his website, YouTube channel, podcast, and social media accounts. On today's episode of the Shall I Stream It podcast, Roger and I will be discussing all things Disney Plus. All right, so I want to thank you again, Roger, for speaking with me today. You really are one of the people. When I first started my outlet, Shall I Stream It, I came across your YouTube channel and I was like, hey, here's this guy who is talking about a streaming service on the internet. I feel like he's on to something. So it really is kind of a full circle moment here. So to get things kick started, I just wanted to know if you could tell me a little bit about how you got started with what's on Disney Plus and with DisKingdom.
Yeah, kind of. Well, I mean, I was thinking about this the other day, and and I'm like, I started doing websites like 25 years ago when I was at college doing
Mm,
computing, and I've been, I was doing like wrestling websites, and I even actually at one point
mm.
even ran a little website where I was covering WWE on demand, which was like the
Oh,
pre-WWE network,
mm,
and kind of fizzled out because not a lot of people were using it, and just jumping around. And then I got into this Kingdom because I used to cover. We used to work on a website doing like little Vinimation, little Disney figures.
hmm
And then we kind of broadened into Disney Infinity, the video game,
hmm
and other collectibles, pop vinyls, etc. And then kind of like, actually, no, I want to branch out to other collectibles and other bits and pieces. And then that just kind of grew and grew over the years. And I was doing that for, I don't know, that must be like 5+ years.
hmm
And then when they announced Disney Plus, I thought, actually, being someone that's not not at not in Orlando and not in
hmm
not in Los Angeles. It's like, oh, this is cool. I like streaming. I was
hmm
using Disney Life all the time,
hmm
and it's like, cool. I'll just jump into that. And little did I know that it was just going to explode, and
hmm
essentially that was then what was going to take all my time because it was it's just yeah. I can't believe it's been like 5-6 years since I started doing it. It's been a long long. There's a lot of hours every day.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, time flies. And, I'm curious. You mentioned Disney Life. That was something
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of until recently. I was listening to your podcast and you were talking about that. So, could you just kind of go over that a little bit? What was Disney Life like?
Yes. So it kind of launched. It was kind of like almost like a pre-version. So you had
Hmm
like your Disney movies and your Disney shows, but it was very much like Disney. It was
hmm
that was pretty much all there was. It was just basically like the Disney hub. So you had all the
hmm
classic shows and Disney channels and stuff. But also in there you had books, but they were
hmm
like learning to read. I didn't really bother too much. But what I liked about it is it had the music. So it had all the albums, but it also had Marvel and Star Wars album. Even though they didn't have any Marvel or Star Wars shows, they had. So I liked the music. But and this is where it was kind of useful for me as someone
hmm
that was spending way too much money at the Disney store was you used to get like a 10% discount every time you used to shop and you used to get free delivery. And as someone that at the time was spending, and as you can see from behind me with all my figures and stuff, and that's only the quarter of it, it was actually worthwhile having a subscription just to get the discount because I
Yeah.
could save the £5 a month just on the discount.
Mm,
So that was kind of for me the best thing was like you go to the store, you get a discount, or you use the online code, and it was like I'd love them to bring that. It'd be way too bad for my credit card, but it's that was really why I started covering
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you got your money's worth. So it sounds like it was a good deal there. And I'm just kind of curious. The big deal is right now with Hulu on Disney Plus, you've been knee deep in the world of Disney Plus more than most people. So, I just wanted to know if you could kind of contextualize a little bit because I feel like a lot of people in the U.S. don't get that. there was always this general entertainment content on Disney Plus everywhere else. So
Yeah.
how was Disney Plus different outside of the US versus in the US?
Well, obviously, like when it launched, we had it the same as you guys did, and it was I think it was like June 20. Oh, no, it was like February 2021. So we're going back over 3 years. We had the Star Hub added in, and they did a little bit of a price rise. They raised it by about 2 quid, about like
Hmm.
$3 a month. So they increased the price to show the fact that we were getting this Star Hub. And in
Hmm.
all essential purposes, all what's happened with Hulu on Disney Plus is you guys have kind of caught up with us and kind of overtaken us at the same time. But yeah, it was this kind of weird thing because a lot of when it first launched, there was a there was a lot of confusion
Hmm.
and anger, especially on like my social and my Facebook group, from especially from Americans who couldn't quite understand what was going on. And American Horror Story is not Disney, and
Hmm.
Alien should not be on Disney Plus. And there was a lot of confusion,
Hmm.
and it took 6 months to a year for that to kind of come a little. And then when they started adding in like Deadpool and Daredevil, it started
Hmm.
becoming a little bit easier. And now it feels like you've kind of caught up with us to the fact of, yeah,
Hmm.
it's essentially if you take that Hulu hub and just call it Star,
Hmm.
that's very, very similar to it. I mean, I was hoping we were going to get a big like upgrade and we were going to get it too, because it essentially is like there's nothing really changed for years.
Hmm.
It's just you guys have caught up, but there is a lot of extra stuff on Hulu that
Hmm.
we don't have. A lot more licensed content, like all the
Hmm.
Fox shows.
Hmm.
There's a lot of other things that we don't have access to internationally, which I don't think even if they rebranded the Hulu hub internationally, we wouldn't get most of that because it's licensed.
Hmm. And with that, some of that licensed content, specifically Fox, I was curious because I did see someone point out they had a picture because we have this big advertising push for Disney Plus right now in the US with Hulu on Disney Plus and showing the Fox animation characters and things like that. I didn't fact check this again, but they showed an image of, I think, the Family Guy characters in an
Oh yeah.
ad in the Disney parks, and they said it was the first instance of Fox animation being on display in the Disney parks. So, I wanted to know, kind of in your, opinion, expertise, do you think with Hulu being on Disney Plus now that we'll start to see the Disney parks incorporate some of these characters?
I think the trouble is as well, especially with the Fox animation stuff,
Hmm.
because obviously this is much more of an issue for you guys because it doesn't really happen. Things like Family Guy and Simpsons, etc.,
Hmm.
they're all owned by 20th Television, so therefore they're a Disney product. So there's not really
Hmm.
a massive shift for that. But obviously in the US, they've still got the contract and stuff. There is a problem with like the Simpsons because of the theme right. Like Universal have got the
Hmm.
rights to those characters, so that kind of restricts what they can do with that one. I still think there's just been a general problem with Disney embracing 20th Century Studios.
Hmm.
They purchased it like 5 years ago, and it really feels like it's just taken a long time to. And it's not just Family Guy, and it feels like it's taking a long time for them to embrace that they own this
Hmm.
in general, and it doesn't feel like they've really fully incorporated it properly, and it feels like they've only just started to kind of go, we did spend all this money on it, should we kind of start using it? And
Right.
yeah, in the theme parks, I
Hmm.
think there's a lot of problems with the theme parks where over the last few years with the pandemic and so on, and the problems in Orlando with the politics stuff, and then also in
Hmm.
California, and they just this last week got something through that they've kind of not been able to do anything in the theme parks as much.
Hmm.
And so maybe at D23 this year, this will be when they can put things, it maybe make more sense like in Hollywood
Hmm.
studios. But yeah, I don't think we're going to see a Family Guy parade going down Magic Kingdom mountains.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a whole thing. I mean, I deal with it in the comment section on my YouTube channel and culture wars over that, and just don't want to get into it. But
Yeah, it's a kind of situation of I mean, again, from an
mm,
outsider looking in,
mm,
some of it is just like I don't understand it, I don't really get what's going on. But I can also there's that kind of thing as well of going, like in general. you can see that it's had an impact, and they're having to
Hmm.
kind of fight back against it a little bit and trying to kind of sort of just pull down on it. I think, again, as an outsider looking in,
Hmm.
a lot of it is just like, look, I don't really care like what you do. It's not
Hmm.
my problem. But yeah, I think ultimately a lot of this is just getting things sorted, getting things back on track, and kind of getting back to pre like pandemic.
I am seeing a little bit more of comments on my YouTube channel and on TikTok and stuff. People that are upset about some of the like images of American Horror Story with like the spider lady and stuff, having to scroll past that on Disney Plus. So, and they do use, I don't like the spider lady image. She kind of freaks me out. So I do kind of wonder like what's that adjustment going to be
Yeah.
like with the American audiences. So
I
we'll see.
think this is again why what they're doing is making a lot of sense, and
Mhm.
I can see exactly you could I kind of see what they did obviously with the international launch of Star,
Mhm.
and I can see what they're doing now with Hulu and Disney Plus, where they are just trying to ease people in, trying to get
Mhm.
you used to it. The beta launch was there to get some of you just to just kind of start, oh, this is interesting, this is
Mhm.
different. And now they've integrated, because ultimately, if you don't have Hulu,
Mhm.
you're not going to see it. And I think some of it as well is that little bit of a wake-up call for people to have the parental control set up, the right
Mhm.
kind of profiles.
Mhm.
Whereas they had like, I would say wrongfully assumes that a Disney Plus was just for like 4-year-olds, and
Mhm.
they've had to kind of adjust their thinking about it.
Mhm.
It is it's very jarring when you first, I mean, and I can think back to what it was like for us when we had Star launch, of like
Mhm.
seeing The Walking Dead and like these kind of things popping up. Now we've been doing it for 3 years. It doesn't
Mhm.
even like, and you'll see, and you probably see it in the comments.
Mhm.
International folks will be like, "We've had this for years. What are you going on about?"
Right.
um, it is jarring. It will
Mhm.
take time, and this is all part, I think, of a process of them desensitizing people to the idea that Disney Plus has the plus in it. And I think the Hulu
Mhm.
Hub and the Hulu brand really allows them that little bit of flex where they can kind of go, look, it's not Disney, it's like our other brands.
Mhm. What are some of your predictions going forward? I mean, we've got D23 this year, and I assume there's going to be a big push with Disney Plus and Hulu and all that good stuff. So, what's kind of in your crystal ball for the future for Disney Plus?
I think ultimately, I think Hulu, sort of, I'll do that as its
Hmm.
own thing right now. Is I feel like we're in like, I would say, stage 2 or 3 of the merger.
Hmm.
We've had the pre-announcements and the little kind of getting Disney Plus ready. Then we had the beta, and now we've got this Hulu on. At this point, if in a year's time or 18 months' time they turn around and go, "Oh, we're actually just going to merge the two together,"
Hmm.
I would imagine a huge proportion of people that are using the service will be like, well, this makes sense. And
Hmm.
that'll be it. And it will just be like, oh, cool. One subscription, I'm fine, simple,
Hmm.
nice and easy. And people will just be like, oh, yeah, no, I've been using this for months or years. It's fine. It doesn't matter.
Hmm.
And there's going to be less of a barrier. They've hit the barrier like in the last week. And now it's going to be a case of it's not wearing everyone down, but just getting people used to it,
Hmm.
getting used to the branding, getting used to that you are going to see Abbott Elementary. I mean, I still don't think they fully turned up the marketing,
Hmm.
like press releases and trailers and stuff. They still say on Hulu rather than on Hulu and on Hulu on Disney Plus. They're not
Hmm.
really gone fully in on that yet. But I imagine that's going to start coming in maybe late in the fall. They'll start doing that and start pushing that a little bit more. Yeah, but I definitely feel
Hmm.
like Hulu at some point is gonna, it won't disappear. I think they're still going to keep that Hulu hub for a
Hmm.
while, because I think they need that establishment of having a separate section for it. And maybe eventually they might just drop down to 20th century and AB,
Hmm.
but I think the Hulu keeps it all nice and tidy and stuff on that. Um, yeah, so I definitely think that I do think that Hulu Live TV, that feels like something that is endangered. It's a
Hmm.
product that's not growing. The whole
Hmm.
that whole industry of like streaming TV. I mean, we don't really even have that here in the UK. We don't. There is no service offering. Everyone's doing their own separate little thing. So we don't
Hmm.
have. So they can't grow internationally very easily.
Hmm.
And I think there's less people taking up live TV. So I think that's eventually going to go. whether or not that's replaced by this new sports Hulu or whatever they're calling this new sports streaming service, if they can get it through. Because I was reading yesterday, some people in
Mm,
Congress are not happy with it. So I think
mm,
that'll go. I think all the add-ons and stuff. I think the Hulu app will eventually just. I mean, it just doesn't make a lot of sense in running two services like we saw with Paramount and Showtime and
mm.
stuff like that. I think they'll eventually merge them in. Um, yeah, so that's the Hulu. And do you want to jump in on that before I go into any other?
Uh, no, I mean, yeah, I'm with you on that. I think eventually the Hulu app on its own is gonna, boop, 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 just be absorbed fully into Disney Plus. I don't think Hulu Plus Live TV is gonna last either. But it is interesting to see them talking about doing these live channels, even if they're not like, more of like the fast channels or something like that, more similar to that than a traditional cable channel. But
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think having these like channels makes a lot of sense because to kind of sit back and just like flick
Mm,
through the channels, you're not really sure what you want to watch, and you're going through the screen and screen and screen. And if you flick through, Family Guy's on, Simpsons,
mm,
you might just flick there. And I think there's a core audience of people that will use this. It's not for
mhm,
everyone. Not everyone has to use it, but
mm,
it's easy access. It's probably going to be quite easy for them to do. Additional revenue from advertising.
mhm,
So I think there's like those channels of like a Family Guy channel and a Marvel channel.
mhm,
And I think as the carriage disputes get sorted in the US, like once you've got the few big ones done, they're all going to end up with Disney Plus included anyway. So they're
mhm,
not going to worry too much then if you get. I don't know if they will do like a live stream of Nat Geo and FX
mhm,
and ABC. That might be a little bit of a push, but I think channels is just a feature. I don't. I
mhm,
think people will use. I don't know if it'll be fast where everyone can watch it for free,
mhm,
but maybe as well that might allow them to get rid of the ABC app. Which I think they need to do some drastic consolidation of their
mhm,
apps and channels. And I think ultimately they're probably going to end up with only four channels, maybe anyway,
mhm.
within a couple of years.
Yeah. So, looking at Disney Plus, I mean, I'm sure you've watched a ton of different shows on there. So, what are some of your kind of underrated gems that you recommend to people that they should check out on Disney Plus?
Yeah, and I will say a lot of the probably it's a little bit more mixed up with like Hulu and stuff for us
Hmm.
because like I said, it's been like a year. One that I really enjoy is Extraordinary.
Mm,
It's a British comedy with superhero powers.
mm,
It's kind of it's more adult. It's got
mhm,
a more of a British sense of humor. I really enjoy it. It's a fresh take on a superhero genre where everybody has a power except for this one
mm.
girl, and it's a bit like The Boys meets Derry Girls.
Okay.
It's fun. I really like it.
Mm,
They just did the second season. That's definitely one that I would
mm,
recommend them. One on Disney Plus as well. A Small Light,
mhm,
a really
mm,
heartwarming
mhm,
drama series I don't think enough people watched when it came out. Um, so I would really like for people to kind of jump in and sort of see that on there. There is so many on there that you could jump into, and I'm just trying to think of like underrated ones of what people might have not seen. I really enjoyed Culprits as well.
mhm,
That was a recent Hulu release. Again, a British. It's kind of weird. It's a few of the like British ones. I don't think sometimes they don't break through big enough. So that one's one I've
mhm,
been really enjoying. Um, I'm currently really enjoying Shogun. I've got like that's
mhm.
the I don't know. I would call that an underrated one, but loving it, loving that show right now.
Yeah, Shogun is excellent. I've only watched a couple episodes so far, but so good. Epic.
And it's slightly annoying because the US version on Disney Plus, you have an English dubbed version or English like so you
Hmm.
we don't have that. So I've been watching them all
Oh.
and I someone said it on a live stream. I'm like, what do you mean you've got a it's like, oh man, if we had that, my dad would so watch it because he tried what it is like, no, I can't be doing with all the subtitles and stuff. I was
Mm,
like, oh, I would have so watched that because I like Moving. That's another one to I
mm,
would recommend it. The Korean drama series Moving. That was I once they added the dub version, I was really getting in on that one.
mm. It's interesting. I've heard people talk about the potential of AI to just create the ability to have dubbed versions of every show in every language. So I do think that that's possibly on the horizon soon. It's kind of
Yeah, I
scary,
mean,
but
yeah, I mean, it's kind of on one hand. I mean, it's putting people out of jobs with like I think with dubbing, it's difficult with voice work. You kind of
Hmm.
want. I feel like subtitles you might be able to go, but I know like if like I've used a few little things for like these little short videos like with it, and the amount of stuff they get wrong is
Hmm.
unbelievable. And obviously they'll have a much better AI kind of thing, but I think with dubbed, you kind of want a little bit more personality, but Disney have been drastically cutting back on how much dubbing they've been doing anyway on the international
Hmm.
originals to save money. So it would be like, on one hand, I'd rather have maybe, yeah, it's that kind of weird thing. I'd rather have an AI version than nothing.
Yeah.
I'd give it, depends how bad it is. If it was really like robotic and like, you'd be like, "No, I can't stand this."
Yeah, I can see, both sides of that, I suppose. So, yeah. Then, and final question, just kind of a silly little thing. I've seen a lot of debate over the new teal color for Disney Plus. So, what's your thought over this? Good, yay, nay?
Um, I'm not gonna. I was definitely surprised when it happens. I hadn't really. I hadn't thought about that at all. It completely
Hmm.
came out the blue. Literally
Hmm.
came out the blue. And because I remember like going, it's gone green, and then I had some people going, no, it's teal, or it's this other color. It's like,
Hmm.
look, I work on like a very basic. It's like like when you go like paint shopping of like this type of white, and it's like there's green, blue, yellow. It's just
Hmm.
like so. It's like it definitely caught me off guard. I
Hmm.
was not. I'm still getting used to it.
Hmm.
Um, I think especially because I end up looking then at teal. I've like just now it's like the color has changed suddenly. So like even changing lighting around me of like well I think it's like I was there. I suppose I better need to like find a better different color like bluey green on there. I'm still not sure. I
Hmm.
get what they're doing in the US. I essentially again this is the soft reboot of Disney Plus and Hulu to
Hmm.
get you. I think also Disney kind of owned green, maybe in the
Hmm.
US as a color to get away from the red and the blue. So in some ways it makes but it's definitely a US focused thing because it
Hmm.
doesn't make any sense for like internationally, but they have changed it pretty much everywhere except for where there's Hotstar. Um, I do think at some point we're probably going to end up. I think if Disney are going to be selling off Star India, I wouldn't be at all surprised if they rebrand Hulu or the Star Hub internationally to Hulu. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that, and it would make a little bit more sense with this green stuff. But
Hmm.
it's a very weird. It's a little bit getting used to. Um, I
Hmm.
I, I mean, we went. It's not the first color change because originally Disney Plus was like a purpley, and then it
Hmm.
went to blue.
Hmm.
It's growing on me. It's growing on me, but it's like what then like a few weeks later, I'm still like trying to find it on my phone because it's the wrong
Right.
color. It's like firing up the Xbox app. No, that's the wrong one.
And you've got to go and update all your graphics and your website. So now, like, I was going on your website and I'm like, oh, now your website is teal too. So.
Yeah, it's a very slow one. I'm still not completely convinced of going all. I'm still like it's like even just like having t-shirts printed like I had like
Uh,
for D23 like 2 years ago. I'm like, I suppose I should get it's like, but I don't really want it's like do I go teal of like no, it's
mm,
and especially like well if they're changing the colors like and like there's been and again now that's why I'm looking at teal all the time because I'm doing different artwork and it's just like it is I would say it's growing on me but I think I'm just getting more used to it but
mm,
I imagine I because I saw there was a weird comment of someone was like I think their child was had autism
mm,
and freaked out over the color change because
uh,
obviously not used to change and stuff and like it's little things like that like I never it's like I was like oh that's so like hard to hear of like how something
mm,
so simple as like a change in color could and especially I think with Disney Plus of like so many kids are watching it and I've got and I would imagine like that would be quite a just a tough thing to like something so simple but how much impact that has on people across the board.
mm. Yeah, I mean, it has an effect on me, I look at that teal color and I'm like, I don't know, man. Gotta think about that one. But
Yeah,
I
I
don't know.
think again, it's a lot of this is just like getting you guys used to green with Hulu, and I think for when they merge that together, it will make that's why they've done it. They knew they own green, Netflix had red,
Mm-hmm.
sort of Max has bluey purple kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what Amazon keeps changing their colors and stuff of like pale blue, and so I think they knew they own green, even though
Mm-hmm.
like now TV has kind of gone into green. I think they'd like, right, let's go to that. But yeah, it's definitely a little bit of a change.
Well, sometimes change is good. So we got good changes, we got changes we're unsure about, we got all kinds of changes. So, want to thank you so much for talking with me today, Roger. You are the man, the myth, the legend,
Thank you.
Roger Palmer. So, can you tell everyone where they can find you and et cetera, on the internet?
Yeah, you can find me over at whatsondisneyplus.com. Obviously got a YouTube channel as well, so I do like daily videos talking about it. And yeah, I spend way too much of my time every day of the week just thinking of Disney Plus. And yeah, it's it's yeah, it's that kind of thing of like there's just way too much knowledge that in there that is just of useless, of absolute useless.
Yeah, I feel that. There's people will be talking about streaming services, and I'm like, no, that's actually the Paramount Plus with Showtime plan, not the Paramount Plus Essential plan. And yeah, I'm knee deep in a world of
Yeah.
information that will be
And
completely useless.
And also as well, like all your friends and family, like will come to me, like asking me what to watch, what do we want? Can you sort out my app? Can you what's going on? And it's like, yeah, yeah, okay.
You're right. So yeah, I get called on for a lot of tech support, and I don't mind it, sure, but
But
that's
no, it's cool. Again, thank
kind
you
of
so much for having me on. It's always great. It's literally it's always that kind of thing. It's nice just to talk to different people about Disney Plus and you just yeah, just get the word out. It's great. Thank you.
cool. Sounds good. So thanks, Roger.
Thank you.